For the Pledge of Allegiance, students? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, first item on our agenda is, I'm looking for a motion, please. Mr. Pajewski?
I move to appoint Sarah Williams as principal at Daranowski Elementary School at an annual salary of $178,531 for the 2024-2025 academic year effective July 1st, 2024.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I don't know who said it first.
Oh,
Okay.
Jasper's a favorite.
I'm not sure who said what when. Any discussion? I'm going to ask for a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Bashevsky.
Yes.
Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Mrs. Carmody.
Yes.
Mr. Carson. Mr. O'Shannon.
Welcome to Southington. Yes.
Mr. Whitehead.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Mrs. Clark.
Congratulations, welcome to Southington.
Mrs. Williams, if you want to say a quick word.
As we often do, we put you right on the spot.
I'm up for it.
Okay, good.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, board chair, board members, viewing audience, teachers from DES. My son Henry actually said to me on the way in, "Mom, don't be nervous, just be yourself." And I just have to say thank you, because I will say, after 18 years in an incredible district of Bloomfield, coming somewhere new can be a little nerve-wracking, and I cannot wait to get started, to get to know and meet all of you and get the fun beginning. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to call up Mrs. Alicia Nailway, and we have another celebration of excellence for you this evening, which is always a highlight for us when we get to learn and explore about the young minds that are the future who have led the way during this year's Invention Convention. So, Mrs. Nailway, all yours.
Sure. Tonight I have the privilege of introducing you to some very innovative sixth grade students. You may remember these students from last year's board meeting, where they were recognized for their invitation to the 2023 State of Connecticut Invention Convention. Since that board meeting, these students went on to compete at the state level and have received further recognition for their inventions. Our first student, Brooklyn Boudelier, a sixth grader at John F. Kennedy Middle School, is being recognized for her invention titled Auto Freshener. The auto freshener invention makes it convenient to freshen up rooms by using a remote control freshener that you can drive around the house to spray freshen up and make your room smell fresh and clean. After competing that last spring at the state level, Brooklyn received a special invitation to compete in the U.S. Innovator Virtual Challenge. Congratulations to Brooklyn. Brooklyn here? Is Brooklyn here? Oh, she might not be here yet. All right, we'll have to give her. Is this Brooklyn? Oh! Brooklyn, we just gave you a wonderful introduction. We just told. That's okay. We just told the audience about your auto freshener invention and how you received a special invitation to compete in the Innovative Virtual Challenge. So we wanted to call you up to congratulate you. And also to give you a
Okay. Right over here, okay, because we want to get a group shot after.
Yes. Okay, so our second student, Gwen, is Gwen here? Okay. Okay. Our second student, Gwen Halovic, a sixth grader at John F. Kennedy Middle School, is being recognized for her invention titled the Camera Protector. The Camera Protector prevents car accidents by protecting the view on the backup camera of your car from the rain. After competing last spring at the state level, Brooklyn received a special invitation to compete in the U.S. Innovator Virtual Challenge. Congratulations to Gwen. Two other students, Carter Kelleher and Noah Boros, who were both unable to attend tonight, both sixth graders at John F. Kennedy Middle School, competed at the 2023 State Invention Convention and received special recognition for their partner invention, the Timeout Candle. The Timeout Candle invention helps to prevent house fires by extinguishing the candle flames using a timer. They earned the Fire Marshal Award, which is awarded by the Connecticut Fire Marshal Association to students whose inventions represent particularly innovative solutions in the field of fire and home safety. So congratulations to Carter and Noah. Our next student, Olivia Torres. Is Olivia here? Okay. Olivia, a sixth grader at Joseph A. DePaulo Middle School, is being recognized for her invention titled Watch Window. The Watch Window is a ski snowboarding jacket with a window that allows you to access your smartwatch while skiing or snowboarding to track your speed, while at the same time protecting the watch from the cold or wet weather. Olivia competed at the State Invention Convention last spring and received an invitation to the 2024 9th Annual Raytheon Technologies Invention Convention U.S. Nationals. So she'll be traveling out to Michigan this June to compete in nationals. Congratulations to Olivia and best of luck at nationals. Here, Olivia, you can take your medal. All right, and last but certainly not least, we have Ryan King, who I did talk to earlier, so I know he's here. He's a sixth grader at John F. Kennedy Middle School, and he's being recognized for his invention titled Pack and Boost. The Pack and Boost is a system that makes lifting children out of a portable playpen easier and safer by lifting the bed up and down using a crank to help people who have trouble reaching over the pack and play walls. Ryan competed at the 2023 State Invention Convention and received special recognition for his invention. He is the recipient of the Hubble Light Bulb Moment Award. This award is presented to an inventor whose invention represents a uniquely creative solution combining electronic devices and energy systems. Ryan also received the Boehringer Ingelheim Cares Foundation Award, which is presented to students and inventions that demonstrated particular promise in their incorporation of medical technology and IT computer-aided design. In addition, Ryan received an invitation to the 2024 9th Annual Raytheon Technologies Invention Convention U.S. Nationals. He will be also traveling out to Michigan this June to compete in nationals. So congratulations to Ryan and best of luck in nationals. Unbelievable.
Where you come up, I don't know what to say, because to hear what you have come up with, each individually, to me, who can't think outside a box, I am just absolutely dazzled, and you're just beginning. You're just beginning. And I can't wait to see what you do at the high school and beyond. The sky's the limit for you folks. Honest to goodness, can we give them another round of applause? Now, I'm going to guess we have some pretty proud parents here. Surprise. If you would like to take pictures up here, please feel free. We're going to take a recess because we have two celebrations. Our inventors, who I have to talk to because, like, your inventions are just mind-boggling, and our new principal, Sarah. Thank you. So if you want to take pictures of your children, let's do that now, and then we'll take a 5-minute recess, okay? So come on up, parents, take your pictures of your kids. Oh, my gosh, you guys are brilliant. I'm just, oh, my gosh. No, they're blank. Okay, we've had ours. Okay. I'm looking for a motion for the approval of the minutes of March 28th.
So moved?
Second. We're messing with you, Linda. Liking it? You haven't-
She's enjoying it. Yeah, no comment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Mr.
Yeah,
O'Shannon.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move item 12A, the reading program presentation, to item 7A.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, item 7A.
Hi, good evening. So I am here to present to you an overview of Benchmark Advance. And before, I'm going to apologize because I left my computer. And how's this mouse working for me? Not so
Just
good.
hit
If I
enter,
could just
it'll-
There we
interrupt for
go.
just one, just so that we all because I was looking for my glasses and I don't know what I did with them, but in any event, because this is a presentation, we're not going to be questioning you after, as we often do, but tonight, because we haven't had the opportunity to read everything about this program, we're going to hold off all questions. So you get to do the presentation, and then if we do have any questions afterwards, we can address them to Mr. Pepe, okay? I just want to thank you, Stephanie.
Fantastic, thank you. All right, so before jumping into Benchmark Advance, I want to just acknowledge and give special thanks to this talented team of teachers up on the slide who served on our District Literacy Leadership Committee, alongside Melissa Barbuto, principal of Strong School, my 4 amazing literacy coaches, and myself. We calculated the total number of hours spent per person from the start of February until the day before April break, and found that each person spent between 30 to 40 hours in that short span of time, which was 800 hours in program review. Wow. And there we go. And so just a quick agenda, I'm going to briefly take you through a timeline and our process for selecting this program, a little bit about the science of reading, and provide you with an overview of Benchmark Advance. All right, so our timeline. So for those of you who may not know, our current curriculum has been in place for about 10 to 12 years. So the Right to Read Act was timely for us in a sense. June 2021, Connecticut passed the Right to Read legislation, and part of this legislation was for the state to provide a list of programs, reading programs, for districts to choose to support their reading curriculum. In August of 2022, we began providing teachers with professional learning and shifts needed in our current practice to align with the science of reading. In September of 2022, the initial list was released, and our current program was not on the list. Districts were given 3 choices at that time: select a program to begin implementing July 2023, file for an extension but promise to pick from that list, or file a waiver to see if the state would approve your program. To buy some time and explore all of our options, we filed for a waiver. We also used the waiver process as a review tool to see if the newer version of our current program was aligned with science of reading. At the same time, we also began reviewing that initial list of programs. In October of 2023, in October of 2022, we attended the vendor fair to hear an overview. And from November through February, we worked on the waiver and submitted it in February, all while continuing to review programs until the end of last year. In September of 2023, this year, the state offered a professional learning series around the science of reading. Mr. Medianci, Mr. Pepe, myself, 4 literacy coaches, and 4 elementary principals have been a part of this masterclass all year. Each month, the coaches and I also plan and facilitate new learning for the elementary administrator team around the science of reading, and that includes learning walks to get into the classrooms and see it in action. In October, we had the opportunity to meet with the state prior to receiving our waiver results. But by this point, we no longer wanted to continue with our current program, but we were not impressed with our choices that the state had provided us, and we shared that with the state during that meeting. In December, the waiver results were shared, and through this process, additions were added to the list. We quickly began reviewing them. And in December, prior to reviewing the additions to the list, We knew all the programs on that first list were aligned to science of reading, but something was missing. There was nothing that jumped out at us. And we stopped and had an honest discussion about what we were currently doing that we valued and that we were not seeing in that initial list. We talked about the importance of having a balance of fiction and nonfiction reading, as many were heavily focused on nonfiction. We wanted authentic literature in the hands of our kids and not just texts written by publishers. We wanted books that offered mirrors and windows in which students could see themselves reflected and see into the lives of others. We wanted engaging, age-appropriate topics that were aligned to the science and social studies content standards. We wanted time built in for small group instruction, and we wanted a resource that was manageable for teachers. In January of 2024, we partnered with the Hill for Literacy, who helped us create a timeline and a process for getting to where we are today. It was a really ambitious, tight timeline, but the team, the district literacy team, did an amazing job. We brought the teachers on board, and by the time we had them on board, we had narrowed down our programs down to 2 choices. And so from February to April, the district literacy team reviewed 2 programs. So our team of 20 was split into 3 groups, the red, the yellow, and the blue group. The Hill for Literacy provided each group with a comprehensive tool to review and evaluate each program through the lenses that you see on this slide. In this way, each group was able to compare and contrast not only the areas of literacy, but areas such as instructional design, engagement, and assessment. Here you will find the results of our review. You can see that the results confirm the overall feeling from teachers during the review process. In all areas, Benchmark Advance rated much higher than the other program. In addition to reviewing each of the programs through these specific lenses using the tool provided by the Hill, the teachers partnered with the literacy coaches to plan and try out lessons from each program. And you will hear from a couple of teachers in just a bit. So, what is the science of reading? I think it's important that you have a little bit of information on why we're making this change. So the science of reading is scientifically based research that pulls from neuroscience, linguistics, cognitive psychology, education, and other fields that study reading and writing issues. The research has been conducted over the last 50 years, and the science of reading really helps us to know how we can most effectively assess and teach reading to all students. The neuroscience behind the science of reading is really fascinating, and I won't go into too much detail, but it all boils down to this. We were never born to read. We were given a genetic program for language, for vision, for the olfactory system, for touch and cognition, but not for reading. Reading is a human invention, and it requires the brain to fashion a new circuit in order to do so. As Louisa Moats, an expert on how children learn to read and why some struggle, says, teaching reading is rocket science. In understanding the specific skills students need to develop to become successful readers, there are 2 frameworks we look to. The simple view of reading on the left was developed in the 80s. It's a theory that attempts to define the skills that contribute to early reading comprehension. These 2 critical variables, decoding and language comprehension, lead to reading comprehension of a skilled reader. A deficit on either side of the equation could lead to difficulty in reading comprehension. A more visual understanding, the simple view of reading, is known as Scarborough's rope, and that's on the right. It adds detail to the 2-part equation to show all the processes that contribute to reading. It imagines them as intertwined strands of a rope. The rope has 2 main strands, word recognition and language comprehension. Both lead to skilled reading. So Benchmark Advance. Now we have the what, as in what is skilled reading. We need to look closely at the how to teach reading. So Benchmark Advance. So the foundational skills portion of the program, or more specifically phonics instruction, is directed by educational consultant Wiley Blevins. Wiley is an author, editor, educator, and early literacy expert. The phonics and word study lessons are research-based and have a purposeful scope and sequence, moving students in a systematic progression of skills with a spiral review built in. The scope and sequence moves from building foundational skills such as phonological awareness in kindergarten and first grade, that's the ability to hear and manipulate sounds, and basic phonics or decoding of words. to transitioning to multisyllabic or larger words, syllable types, and morphology, and with Greek and Latin roots in the upper grades. Natalie Wexler, the author of The Knowledge Gap, says that the most important factor in determining whether readers can understand a text is how much relevant vocabulary and background knowledge they have. So one of the things that drew us to this program initially was how it builds knowledge across and within grades. There is vertical alignment across all 10 units. Knowledge and vocabulary are built into each 3-week unit. There are 3 literary, 4 science, and 3 social studies knowledge strands. Unlike other programs, the science and social studies topics in Benchmark Advance are aligned to the content in NGSS and the social studies standards. Each unit is guided by an essential question that builds in complexity across grade levels. These essential questions focus on each unit's topic and guide students in building concepts, vocabulary, and content knowledge. Read engaging text. So each unit contains text sets that deepen the knowledge of the topic. Text sets include read-alouds that were purposely selected to introduce topics in order to lay the foundation or build the knowledge within that topic. Knowledge-building topic libraries, so students have access to text to increase both their knowledge about the topic and the vocabulary. There's grade-level complex text sets where students continue to build this knowledge, and the text sets span all genres in each unit. So in each unit, you have literature, poetry, and informational texts. Readers' theater books are provided and allow for fluency practice. And in K-2, decodable texts are provided that are not only aligned with the phonics lessons being taught, but they're also aligned to the topic in the unit. So writing can be a vehicle for improving reading. And so having students write about the text they are reading enhances how well they will comprehend it. In Benchmark Advance, students are writing in response to text and also to build and demonstrate knowledge. This deepens their knowledge, and it also is another opportunity to use vocabulary. All right. So when thinking about Southington Public Schools and the vision of the graduate and the Cs, each unit has an end-of-unit culminating task where students demonstrate their knowledge through listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And during whole group core instruction, Benchmark Advance provides access points for all learners. The key access identifies parts in the lessons that are most linguistically challenging and provides multiple ways for students to be supported as they do the work. Those key access tips are provided with every lesson to support students' needs. In addition, there are resources that teachers need to differentiate instruction for students during small group time. And another support that really drew us in were the supports for our multilingual learners. Integrated English language development supports are provided, as well as a multilingual glossary in 10 languages. And lastly, assessments. They offer a variety of assessments to monitor progress. As a team, we will work to identify which assessments to administer to avoid over-assessing. Another feature that we strongly valued was the spiraling of strategies and skills, as well as priority standards that were identified and assessed. Teachers will know when a specific skill is first being introduced, which skills have been previously taught, and which are being assessed. So that is my very brief overview of the last year and a half of the work of my team and I. It certainly has really been a long journey, and I can't tell you how happy I am to be here tonight, because it's really been a long time. And I do have to give kudos to the 4 literacy coaches who have been right there in this with me, and I could not have done that work without them. I do have 2 teachers here who were part of our district literacy leadership team who just want to give brief statements about their experience in teaching some of those lessons.
Hi, I'm Paula Gorham. I'm a first grade teacher at South End Elementary School, and I had the opportunity to do a lot of lessons. One I focused mostly on was phonics. It starts off with a lot of phonological awareness. We did where we starting to do those multisyllabic words, like compound words like snowball, putting them together and taking them apart. What is it without the snow? Balls left. And then the students went on and we were doing vowel teams like OA, OW, and OE, and they were making words, reading them and writing them, changing them to make new words. So all of those opportunities gave them a lot of good practice, and it's, like she said, it's spirals, so we get to practice it over several weeks, and the stuff that they worked on the week before is going to continue to come back. So it's not like you introduce it and you move on to the next skill. You're going to do that spiral curriculum. It's very systematic and explicit. The students were highly engaged. There are some videos, there are articulation videos, and there are some other videos I forget what the other ones were. There's some songs that goes with it as well. One of the parts that I really liked about it is that there's a formative assessment that's already given to the teachers. So I would have the students writing some words by themselves and then putting it in sentences. And then I take those papers and I can go back and kind of sort them into piles quickly and say who needs what. And then afterwards going to have small group instruction with just the students that really needed that. Usually it's where they are not applying it into their writing. So that made it a lot easier for myself. And there are texts to also support it. So that's my experience.
Thank you, Paula.
My name is Gina Krar. I teach second grade at Thalberg Elementary School, and I can't say enough or reinforce enough of what Paula had said with the phonics piece, but I think two things that I just wanted to share with you is the phonemic awareness piece. So before you get to the written word, the phonics piece of it, students have to be able to hear the sounds that are in the words. As a second grade teacher, I really didn't teach much of phonemic awareness. With this program, I was teaching it every day. I was able to more easily identify students that were struggling with manipulating those sounds and words. And then Benchmark gave me the tools on how to help those students as well, as them receiving intervention services. So that was one really big benefit that I saw that I took away from. But the other piece I wanted to mention was what Stephanie had talked about, the reciprocity of the reading and writing. I feel like students weren't even realizing that they were writing or were they reading and which subject that part of the day was. We did the entire Benchmark lesson all at one time, and we were constantly writing about our reading and then reading about our writing, and I really liked the systematic way that Benchmark walked students through the writing process. It was very organized. They were doing a lot of note-taking. They were making inferences about their events that happened in the story, and from that they were creating opinions and reasons for their opinions, and then they turned it into a 5-paragraph essay, opinion essay, which I thought was pretty impressive for a second grade class. It was great. I taught a whole unit because I wanted to watch that writing progression, and by the end of those 3 weeks, they had some really polished pieces, so I thought that was really impressive. So thank you for your consideration too. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you to Stephanie, teachers, people. I know this has been a journey for you, putting it mildly, but I thank you for coming this evening. If we have any questions, we'll give them to Mr. Pepe after we all go over through the program. But thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing all this information with us. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And thank you for the 15 minutes. You did good.
Yes, as much as the rest of the meeting may be riveting,
Feel
we
free.
did move it up on the agenda out of respect for your time, so have a good
It's
evening.
fine, it's fine. We will not be offended. Okay, you can be offended. Go ahead. All right, moving along. Communication from our board reps.
Good evening, board and everyone in attendance. Let's start off with our school report. We would like to say congrats to the 195 robotics team on their success at DCMP, the World Competition in Houston, and we're very proud of all your hard work and dedication. It really showed. The junior prom was an amazing experience for all involved. Thank you for all the teachers who helped out and the 2025 class officers for putting together an amazing prom. Senior prom is scheduled for May 18th, and tickets went on sale yesterday, and they still will be on sale tomorrow. Usually they have them run out a little longer too. AP exams will be starting in the beginning of May. This year, exams will be held at the high school. Traditionally, they were at St. Aloysius Church, but this year it should be noted that they are at the high school. If you have any questions, please reach out to your teacher or Ms. DeSenza. You must arrive 30 minutes prior to the exam, and good luck to all. We had several global trips during our April break. Our SHS students visited Spain, France, China, Switzerland, Austria, Germany. There were a lot of Instagrams made to showcase all the pictures and the stories and all the culture that they experienced, and it was very interesting to see. Great job to all the students who performed at the spring orchestra and band concert. Your hard work definitely showed. It was an amazing concert. We are starting to look for new applicants soon. So if you are a junior or sophomore at Southington and are interested in being next year's Board of Education representatives, we highly encourage you to apply. Next, our sports report. The Blue Knights baseball team is off to an undefeated 10-0 start and host Rocky Hill tomorrow at 5 p.m. at Fontana Field. The softball team, winners of 5 in a row, host Cheshire today in a matchup of top 10 teams in the state. The girls and boys track team had its season opening dual meet versus Avon this past Wednesday at the Turf Field Track Facility Stadium. The next home dual meet is Tuesday, May 14th versus Glastonbury at Northwest Catholic. The girls lacrosse team won its first 3 matches of the season and is currently has a 5-4 record heading into an away game at Wethersfield tomorrow night. And the boys lacrosse team has a 4-4 record playing at Conard, West Hartford today. And I just had noticed that they did win today in overtime, so congrats to them. And now on to Acre with the district report.
So, okay, for our district report, the Kennedy and DePaulo Middle School Drama Club will present their yearly production, Sister Act, on March 29th, April 4th, and 5th. All the performances are at 7 p.m. at Kennedy. The tickets are only $5 for the students and $9 for adults, and will be sold at the doors, or you can get your tickets early by purchasing them in the main office at either school. Opening nights was last night, and the students did an outstanding job. There are over 120 middle school students involved in the cast and crew this year. DePaulo will hold a Spirit Week next week. Some of the funds raised will be donated to support local veterans. Spring sports are underway at DePaulo. Baseball and softball tryouts have started, and the teams will be selected by next week. April is Autism Awareness Month, and DePaulo will be holding fundraiser each week in April with proceed to benefit autism services and resources in Connecticut. Henton Elementary is collaborating once again with students from Southern High School enrolled in the Introduction to Teaching classes with Ms. Osborne. SHS students will work in the classrooms at Henton in the afternoon over an 8-week period to gain authentic teaching experiences and enhance their understanding of the many elements that are a part of effective teaching and learning. Henton teachers serve as mentors, and the SHS students will work in classrooms ranging from pre-K through grade 5. Our teachers, and especially our students, enjoy having these authentic future teachers as part of our school community. Daranowski just finished their One School, One Book event. The book that the entire school read was The World According to Humphrey. Staff members made videos of each chapters for students to watch each night. Students could either read the chapter or listen to the staff read to them. Trivia questions from the book were asked each day, and classes who answered the questions correctly were put in a drawing to have Hank the guinea pig visit their classroom for the day. What a fun event it was for all. Kelly School would like to acknowledge one of our 4th grade students. 4th and 5th grade students from all our school participated in the fire prevention poster contest. Ashlyn Keska Kelly School fourth grader was selected as Southington's fourth grade winner. She then went on to be honored as the winner for fourth grade for all of Hartford country. Ashlyn was honored at a school luncheon for all country winners last Friday. Her art teacher, Miss Grego, and Kelly School principal, Miss Kell, joined Ashlyn and her parents at the luncheon. She was presented with a certificate of certificate of appreciation and a gift card from the Connecticut Fair Plan and many local and state fire department personally. Congratulations, Ashlyn. Thank you to Quinnipiac University for selecting GFK as one of the volunteer sites during their big event on Saturday, April 13th. 4 volunteers spruce up the school counseling suit with a fresh paint in preparation for a new motivational wall. Thank you to the local businesses who have sent in donation for our upcoming Staff Appreciation Week. We are grateful to Stamp Tack, Anthony Jack's, Zane Chinese Restaurant, Craft Kitchen, Fancy Bagel, Express, and Blackie's Hot Dog Stand for their support. We are appreciative and excited that some GFK families are hosting middle school exchange students from Maru, France in early May. The students will be in Southington for 10 days and will travel to various locations such as Boston, New York, Hartford, and Sturbridge. Additionally, they will attend GFK for 2 days during their visit. We are confident memories that last a lifetime will made through this experience. The annual joint production from DePaulo and Kennedy Middle School Drama Club was a huge success. All of the scheduled performances of Sister Act were well attended. Congratulations to all cast and crew members, and thanks to everyone for their support in making their venture as successful as it was. The DePaulo National Junior Honor Society hosted a bingo night at DePaulo yesterday for seniors. Students served food and drinks to their guests and then participated in bingo games with the senior citizens. Animal helpers at DePaulo have been preparing for a new project. A chicken coop was built and chicks were just hatched this week. The students will be taking care of the chicks while they are still in the building, assisting in moving them to the coop and caring for them when they are mature enough to be outside. DePaulo have raised money every Tuesday in April for Autism Awareness Month. All of the money collected will be donated to the Autism Services and Resources CT based out of Wallingford. DePaulo spring sports began last week. Both the softball and baseball teams are off to a good start. That is it for the district report. If you have any questions, please let us know.
Do we have any questions? Long report. Well done. Well, because it's been a while since we've had a meeting, so well done, girls. Well done. Moving right along. Communications from the Board of Education. Does anyone have anything? I would just like to say I did attend the Sister Act at the middle school. Unbelievable performance. I'm just going to leave it at that. It was amazing. One of my favorite shows, but it was amazing. Well done. Well done. I do have one thing. Mr. Medancy?
You need help?
Yeah.
You gotta-
Yeah, you got, I have a broken wing. I'll get this. Here. I have a broken wing. We received a letter of retirement that I refused. But I got outvoted.
No way.
17 years we've been doing this together. 17 years you've been putting up with Joe, with Terry.
Longer than that.
Combination of all of the above, and still every meeting you show up, you do our minutes, and you do them well. So that's why I said, no, you can't retire. But in any event, I know you've decided you will be missed. Thank you for all that you have done. This is a little token from the board.
Oh, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
What people don't know is that Linda not only sits here, but then she takes this home. who sometimes don't get back to her on a timely
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I was secretary, Joe's secretary, Clary's secretary, we've all done, but it's just, it's not an easy job. You make it easy. Thank you. Oh, thank you, so sweet. My pleasure working with you all. It's been our pleasure,
All
too.
the years with all the, all the changes and everything, it's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
You can say it, all the drama.
Oh, good, it's not just us. Thank you, Linda. Okay. Mr. Medancy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would echo what you say. You know, there may have been a tense meeting or two over the last few years, and
No, not at all.
looking at you always make eye contact with me and just offer a kind smile, and it always relaxes me. So, thank you. For my report tonight, I've got some great news and some not so great news. The great news, let's start there. The National Association of Music Merchants, which we call NAM, once again, Southington has been recognized as one of the best communities for music education through their foundation. This is the 11th year running, and I think it's a huge testament to the music teachers in the department and the great job they do to engage our students and keep them interested and growing as musicians. So, great news there. We touched upon the robotics, so I won't steal their thunder any further, but what I'll do is I'll substitute. You did hear about all of the foreign field trips that occurred over April break, so Mrs. Riccio and I are planning a presentation for all of you at a future meeting, because one of the things we've always talked about is it's great to come and get the permission and the approval for the board, but it's even better to hear about what actually happened, what did you take away from the trips. So at a future meeting, TBD. Mrs. Clark, Mrs. Vitcavage, Nicole LaFay, and myself had an opportunity last week to attend a community forum that was held at the Bread for Life on food insecurity. And kind of one of the tools used to facilitate the conversations was a book by an author named Rex Ogle called Free Lunch. And we were part of a panel, myself and Nicole, that really we touched upon, you know, some of the things that happened in that book that maybe we can identify with or our students can identify with in the district, and then some of the things that we do to avoid having our students having to identify with what Rex went through during his childhood. So it was a great community conversation. I think it was a real eye-opener for families, just in terms of what food security means. I think one of the large takeaways as we think about our reduced free and reduced lunch rate, and it is around 22% right now. One of the things that Nicole pointed, our new food service director, that I didn't know, because the salary amount that they use, the federal government, to determine whether you qualify for free or reduced lunch is based on a national formula. So many of our families in the Northeast, as you can imagine, cost of living is far higher than it may be in other portions of the country. So we have lots of families who may apply and are not eligible. And so that's an area that we think our families may struggle with in terms of not being eligible for free or reduced lunch. So that was a takeaway that we, you know, from Bread for Life that we talked about and how we can assist there. On the not so good news front, if you've been following this legislative session, the Appropriations Committee and now on, out of appropriations decided not to open the governor's biennial budget, which means no new funds will be appropriated, which means the excess cost dreams that I've been sharing with you all throughout the legislative session are essentially not going to come to fruition unless there's a miracle that I don't know about. And so, Mrs. Mellon and I, and she actually just tracked me down tonight and said, "Did you see this?" And I had, and we're going to have to address that as part of our relocation meeting, because that means we are now going to be getting less excess cost grant funds than we even budgeted for at 70%, even though we're entitled to 88%. As of right now, we're projected next year to get 67% of excess costs reimbursement. So we will be keeping a close eye on that and working through that. And then lastly, kind of good news, I guess. The June 13th Board of Education meeting is going to be canceled because it happens to fall on the same evening as graduation.
Oh.
And so you will all still be, serving in your role as board members that evening, but an entirely different, and as I know it's a favorite event of the board. So we will see you all on June 13th, and then we will still have the second board meeting in June. Typically, we have decided whether we needed that or not, but given that we don't have an early board meeting in June, chances are we will need that second meeting.
Okay.
that's my report for this evening.
Okay. Any questions of the superintendent? Okay.
Got excited for a second, Steve. No, That's all right.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Should we have a cake anyway? Okay.
I think so.
Okay. Communication from the public on agenda items only. Okay. Don't see anybody. So moving right along, committee reports, district-wide facilities committee meeting. Mr. Medancy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we had our last district-wide facilities committee meeting on March 27th, and I would say it was probably one of the meetings where we've made more forward progress than most, and I know you've all been part of conversations dating back to last spring about the future of the elementary facilities, and we've watched closely the enrollment, and we've also watched the age of the facilities, we've watched referendum dates, debt service, and all things considered. So at the last meeting, Chuck Warrington of the Colliers Group and Patrick Gallagher of SLAM, who you're all familiar with, they've been at our past meetings, presented 4 scenarios for consideration and discussion. And these are updated numbers based on the fact that we are pushed the referendum out. So they've taken more recent bids that they've received relative to the cost of labor and square footage and materials and whatnot. We went into a pretty extensive discussion about the various scenarios. The goals of the committee have been from the outset that regardless of what we decide on the facilities, one of the goals would be balanced enrollment, and another would be to maintain neighborhood schools. And I think we came up with a scenario that's fairly close to that. It's titled Scenario D. It is in your packet. I asked Teresa to include that so you could just take a preliminary look at it. We do plan on doing a more in-depth presentation for all of you at a future meeting so that you'll understand what goes into that. And we also are going to be following up at the next district-wide facilities committee meeting because there were a few members that weren't able to attend. We wanted them to have a chance to review all of the scenarios as well. And then lastly, one of the asks was that I get in touch with the Cheshire Public Schools Administration to see, because these are all estimates, these cost scenarios, to see where did these scenarios come in at relative to their current actual costs. And the superintendent had shared with me at the time, which I will share with the facilities committee when we get there, it was 2% lower on one of their projects and 1% higher. So that the costs are pretty accurate in terms of what we projected versus what they came in at. And so that's something we'll be discussing, scenario D, further at a future meeting, with the understanding that we do need to eventually make a recommendation to this board so that you can start to deliberate, we can engage the community, and then we have a timeline ahead of us of June of 2025 if we're going to be submitting a grant application to the state for reimbursement relative to any school construction projects that we may be pursuing. So that is my committee report.
Thank you. Any questions? No? Okay. Policy and Personnel Committee meeting.
Thank you,
Mr.
Madam
Majewski.
Chair. So we had a very robust meeting where we covered a lot of different things. So one of the major parts of it was reviewing some of the technology roles. So technology analyst, that job description, we sort of went on the reasoning of why certain parts were changed, as well as the library, media, and instructional technology. As we know, with moving to the one-to-one, they've been essentially boots on the ground. So essentially, that was reflected in the changing of the job description to reflect more 21st century rather than 18th century. Let's see, so policy 5114 regarding student discipline. This was, Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, this is more of a, I guess like a ground up policy, not so much a rewrite, but like an actual.
Yeah, part of the reason it was reviewed was per the request of the board in order to better illustrate really when we come forward with different disciplinary measures, infractions, consequences, quite often, or hopefully not quite often, occasionally we end up having to make a motion to expel a student. So this gave background and what are mandatory expulsions, what is a stipulated agreement, how are different things handled based on the context of each situation for students. So it was more of a policy review.
Again, the importance of a stipulated agreement versus a non-stipulated agreement, and again, the extra services that go into having those stipulations. Made revisions to policy 5130, bullying prevention and intervention were discussed. Updated definitions, et cetera, as well as policy 5130.1 is a newly proposed to comply with recent legislation, again, in regards to, the bullying prevention and intervention. And then last but not least, policy 5144, students' welfare, play-based learning, and student discipline. This was essentially, at the request of the board, a review after the tabling on February 22nd. Again, going over with Mr. Pepe as well as the other members in attendance. Again, the policy was taken specifically from the legislation that was passed, so there's nothing, I guess, more stringent occurring in our policy than what's passed at the state level. And we felt comfortable that, with the definitions of play-based learning, et cetera, that, we were essentially we're in a good position with that policy. Policy 9010, role of the board members, board and members, policy 9271, code of ethics, and policy 9400, methods of operation. Those were reviewed, and then these were follow-up from our board retreat that we essentially looked at. Last but not least, policy 9160, student representatives on the Board of Education was reviewed. And then with this, we suggested edits providing more opportunity for involvement of the student representatives. So, again, like my biggest thing is, speaking for myself individually, is essentially empowering you as the representatives to, again, have an interaction with us as board members. If it's great to hear about all the good things, but we also want to know about, what's not going well, and being able to do that, and again, a really good back and forth. So, I thought that those were, the edits on that were pretty well reflective of, in my opinion, sort of a, I guess, an evolving role as a student representative. Took us 5.5 hours. We got through it, but it was great.
5.5 hours?
No, I'm teasing. It was like an hour and a half.
It
But-
just
but we
felt
had a
like
lot
5.5, I'm
We had a
sure.
lot of stuff to muddle through. Mr. Pepe kept me on point, so.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Brzezowski. Okay,
Why'd you sigh?
I didn't sigh.
You sighed. I
I
heard
did, I
that.
sighed. I'm sorry, I sighed.
It's hurtful.
Yes,
Thank you, Mrs. Carter.
Thank you, thank you. Mrs. Carmody, I'm turning it over to you for curriculum and instruction, and you can give an abbreviated if you'd like.
Very abbreviated. The
Okay.
only thing I would like to say, and I thank Stephanie for being here tonight and the rest of the staff that showed up. I can't tell you, Bob and Colleen will agree with me, the enthusiasm, the excitement of the teachers in this new benchmark was unbelievable. And the amount of work that the teachers, that you all put in to find a program that would be beneficial to our students, I can't tell you how we all appreciate that. We have wonderful staff, I know we have wonderful teachers, but what you showed us that day was overwhelming. Do you agree? It was just unbelievable. So my sincere thank you to all of you. I don't know if Bob or Colleen want to
Bob,
say
you wanna-
anything. Bob?
No, I agree. It was fantastic, and the enthusiasm was wonderful. And no, I'm not going to go. It's just so much about integrating things and the spiraling part, and everything was just wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
You
Again,
worked really hard, so thank you.
many thanks, because we know how difficult this journey has been, but to see the enthusiasm among the teachers and the collaboration that has already been taking place is just wonderful. And that excitement the students will feel the excitement, and hopefully this will be the great success that I know it's going to be. So, thank you again.
Mrs. Clark?
Yes.
Could I just mention phonics?
Could I stop you, Mrs. Carmody?
Stephanie, can I mention phonics? Thank you.
You just wanted to, she just wanted to say the word, okay.
Can I
Thank you,
mention one more thing?
Yes, Mr.
One of the things that
Brown.
impressed me is it used to be that there were people who fell through the cracks. And one of the things about this looks like is that it's aimed to help those people who struggle before to read. And we are public schools and we care about every single student, not just the ones who find an easier time with things. And I think that's a terrific plus about the program.
Okay,
Great job.
thank you. Next up on the agenda is the superintendent's report, the personnel report. Do I have a motion?
I motion to approve the personnel report as submitted by the Human Resource Department.
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. Town government communications. Mr. Medancy.
Yes, I'll be brief, informational for the board. Another future presentation coming your way, but it will be exciting. Maybe not as exciting as the farm field trip, but I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Owen McLaughlin, late last year, early this year as well. He's the new ag science director at the high school, and great ideas, great energy. And he pitched the idea to me of raising a barn on the Pleasant Street property for the ag science program. Right now, we're limited with the amount of animals we're able to house in the current facility, and there's also limited feeding opportunities for them because we don't have pasturing, available, obviously, because between the turf and the paved parking lot, there's not a lot out there. And some storage, too, of the hay and whatnot. So Mrs. Mellett, Mr. Romano, myself, and Owen have met on numerous occasions, kind of drilled down, look at the numbers that are available. They do have grant funding for this entire project. It would be at no expense to the town or the board. And so the next step was, it sounds like a wonderful idea, but it's the town's property. It's not Board of Education property. So we reached out to the town council, who had said, love the idea, why don't you present it at an open space committee meeting, because that's where the recommendation would be blessed, if you will. So Owen and Mr. Romano attended an open space meeting just prior to April vacation, got a resounding approval and support for use of that property in that manner. So right now, it's still in the conceptual stages. We're looking at design of the barn. We're looking at costs beyond maybe just the structure itself, future costs to make sure it's sustainable beyond the current grant funds that they have. And I've asked Owen to come and do a presentation in the near future for all of you once we get a little bit more information that's concrete, so that you can be certainly part of the excitement.
Awesome.
Very exciting,
That's really
very
good.
exciting. Any questions of the superintendent? Yes.
Can I just
Yep,
make a
yep.
comment? So are there, since it's a barn, would there be limitations as far as, I mean, again, loving the history of our town, the agricultural history and everything else, I mean, I've seen some beautiful new post and beam barns. I think that would be a stunning addition to the whole DePaulo campus, if you will. Is that something that we could
Yes.
potentially look at?
Yeah, some of the designs he has right now are stunning.
Awesome.
But we got to make sure we keep it within the funds that we have available. So,
Yeah.
but we are looking at that, yes.
Okay.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, thank you. Mr. Bijewski, we have some old business?
Yes, ma'am. Let's see. Sorry, just clicking around here. Move to approve policy 5144, students' welfare, play learning, student discipline, revised as presented by the Policy and Personnel Committee.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose.
Okay. Motion passes 7-1. Thank you.
6-1.
6-1. I can't count.
1, 2, 3,
3,
4,
4,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Leave me alone.
What? What do you?
I
look at
did
me
the
like
math
this?
correct.
Looking at you, Chelsea.
No.
So aggressive. You're looking at me.
So just to correct, it is 7-1.
It's 7-1. I'd pop you, but I'm not. Okay, under new business, we've already had the reading presentation. First reading of policy 5130, bullying prevention and intervention.
Yeah, these are all first readings.
Yeah, these
so
are
no
all
action.
first reads. Policy 5130.1, policy 9160, student representative on the Board of Education. First reading,
And then, I
job
had
descriptions.
job descriptions.
To you.
So move to approve the revised job description for computer technician as presented by the administration.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Move to approve the revised job description for technology analyst as presented by the administration.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
And move to approve the job description for secondary library media and instruction technology as presented by the administration.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Baszewski. Next item on the agenda, adoption of the 2025 Board of Education meeting dates.
So moved.
Second?
Do we have any discussion?
I love meeting with all of you.
You-
Quite frankly, I don't think there's enough. I said it, Mrs. Carmody. I love seeing you on Thursdays.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Good grief. All right. Public communication, anything not on the agenda? Someone wants to comment? Please state your name and your address for the record.
Regina Coviello, 12 Beecher Street, and I'll make it quick. Some of you that were at the town council meeting and some others, there was questions about at the Southington High School and about kids not being able to go to the proms, that they didn't pay their lunch money and that they owed and other dues. And I would like to say that a lot of the people at the town council reached out. Colleen, you got a lot of those calls. And then I also reached out to some people and we have, and I'm not going to pronounce his name right. So we have a wonderful Southington High School principal who got back to me. And we do not have to worry about any of the students not being able to go. And he assured me of that. And I also told him that if there was ever any issue where a kid couldn't, call me. I'll call all of you. We'll call everybody we know, and that kid will go. So I just wanted to let you know that that was all taken care of. Okay? Thank you.
Regina. Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. David's not here. David's not here. Linda.
Oh.
Yay, Linda.